Oh, buddy. Hi. You guys ready for some breakfast? It's a cold one here today. We're all expecting across the country a lot of really cold weather this week. Puts a damper on doing things here on the farm, but things don't stop. Won't stop, won't stop. Oh, for farm bites today, I think we'll kind of start going over a little bit of what we hope to be able to do this year. And I apologize for the really awesome camera work today. I'm feeding horses while taking care of this stuff. So 2021, this will be our second full year on the farm and our third year here in total since we decided to do this. To start things off, at least today, we have the farrier coming, take care of the hooves on the horses. But longer term plans include a lot of projects on the farm. Everything willing. For starters, one of the things that we have going on, or planned going on this year, is going to be expanding out the dry lot for the horses, ponies. So we don't really need to, since the dry lot is literally a spot for them to not have access to grass. However, I'll turn this around in just a minute. This dry lot that we have them on the north side of the barn is the only shade that's provided is with this big old tree, which is actually a couple different trees, which this shade is good through about midday. And then as you can see, in the afternoon we have next to nothing providing shade, save the barn itself. So during the summer, they don't really get a lot of relief. So we are going to put in another dry lot, second lot, on the south side of the barn, which is shaded pretty heavily by this mammoth oak tree. And then in the afternoon, or early afternoon at least, the trees from the start of the back nine shade things up pretty good. And when it gets later, they'll hide up here, right next to the barn on the east side. So that's one of the projects we have going on, plans for this year. Hi, Peanut. On a couple other projects that we are gonna be working on, deal with this pasture, our main pasture. We've always planned to have two separate pastures, except we expected or planned to have a right of way or drive down the middle of it. So we put in the gates, or the fence on the far side, to split off that pasture, but we are going to put another fence to split off this pasture from the main drive. So we have two separate pastures with a nice big gap in the middle that we can drive down. And that'll help keep animals a little bit more separated for when they need to be separated. Those are a couple of the big heavy hitters. And let me get the latch off here. We also will be replacing the entire back fence right here. We did have to take it down some on this side to create the dry lot for the horses. The gate posts need to be replaced. They are not doing so well. And we are going to just replace this entire fence. This is an old fence from when we got the property. It's a 39-inch field fence, and we've been using 47-inch field fence for everything just to get that a little extra height. But it's potentially a 20-year-old fence. About time to replace it anyways. In addition, we have a lot of fencing projects basically going on here. The back 9 has fence around it, but it is old and grown through. We have a lot of trees that have fallen on the fence and taken sections down. So we do have plans to re-fence the whole property. Part of the reason is we're going to take the back section of that area and enclose it for another pasture, or rather it will be more of a natural pasture. I forget exactly what the term is, but we're going to be thinning out some of the trees back there. And we will be fencing that in so that we can let animals graze back there. Since we have goats and Highland cattle especially, as well as pigs, they all do extremely well foraging. So there's no reason not to utilize that area. We're not going to do too much with it because we are trying to keep things as natural as possible around here. Anyway. Another thing we're planning on doing, actually this has already been delayed several times, is the fence for the pig. You can see we already have some of the posts up for their little pasture. This will be their enclosed pasture, and they'll be able to migrate to and fro. But in the process, we have to replace this post here and the next one, and restretch this fence, as this was one of the first fences we did. And you can see the ponies had their way with it when we first got them, and still to this day they love to rub their butts on the fences and really push into them. So this fence needs to be restrung, and we're going to be changing this fence over to well, no, we're not changing this over, but we do have the 4x4 sheep and goat fence for the pig pasture. And one of the other things that we're going to be doing this year, hopefully, it is on my to-do list as I pick up trash. We are going to be expanding the chicken run into enclosing our entire garden area here. So you may be asking, what are we going to do with the garden? Well, we are doing two things with it. We are going to be utilizing containers more. While we did have a good harvest last year on cucumbers especially, and the tomatoes actually grew pretty well, except at the end of the season when we were supposed to be able to pick them, they suffered a lot from bottom rot, which means we need a lot more calcium in the soil. But we are going to be taking the chicken run out from this big post here on the corner of it all the way to around that post over there, give or take. And then along this fence line, we are going to have several garden boxes. I will be building a host of them, budget permitting. And we will also have, hopefully, can't promise it'll be this year, but over in this corner, we are going to be doing 2 hoop style greenhouses. We'll probably just start with one and see how it does and grow into it. But we have some DIY plans over here. So we will more than likely be running them side by side. And we will also be reworking the compost pile here, which is coming along very nicely, by the way. Just added our last clean out from our chicken coop remodel to the pile. So everything's all covered up nicely now, and in a couple weeks I'll go ahead and turn it again. But this garden area will be for the chickens primarily, and we will be putting in a gate along this fence to also allow the pigs to come in here. And what that lets us do is a little bit more garden tillage. And what we can do is put up a portable fence right here, poultry fence or something, during the season, and we will still grow some of our vegetables over here, probably the larger vining type vegetables like squash and cucumbers and tomatoes, and everything else will be grown hopefully in boxes. So we have a lot of plans, and those are some of the things that we have going on. We do have still I have to finish out the vine trellises, and we need to do some miscellaneous stuff like getting the gates for the orchard pasture, things like that. I have to do some other stuff which is not directly farm related, but it's on the farm. We have to redo the fence for our dog yard off of the back of the house and whatnot, and there's a whole heck of a lot to do around here. And while a lot of those plans probably will take a bit longer than this year to get to, we're going to start them. Yep, definitely going to start them. And we do also have a few surprises planned as well. I have my checklist and it keeps growing, but I think you'll like what comes out of this year, and we hope you're gonna hang around and watch our progress and support us along the way. And look for a few events coming up. I know we're still in COVID, but definitely going to try and open up the farm to getting some of y'all to be able to come visit. Whether or not we do something on a more personal basis or kind of open house events was still up in the air, but we'll definitely try to make sure whatever we do is safe for everybody. And yeah, thanks.